How do you apply for Medicare, Lee?
How do you apply for Medicare? So, as per the norm, it depends a little bit, right? So, a couple things. If someone is receiving Social Security before they turn 65 years old, then you are automatically enrolled into Medicare. Okay. So Social Security Administration is the one that initially enrolls you into Medicare. And if they already have you on the records, right, as far as receiving Social Security prior to you being 65, then they assume you probably want Medicare. Now, if for some reason you don't, you can opt out of that. You're not locked into that, but the majority of the time it's a fitting decision that they say, yes, that they probably need Medicare. So you're automatically enrolled into that. Usually about 3 months before that Medicare effective date, which is the first day of the month you turn 65. You get that Medicare card about 3 months prior to that. And then at that point, that's when you sit down with a broker like us to say, okay, now what are my options? Let's compare Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, whatever else, the prescription drug coverage and whatnot. So if you are receiving Social Security, that's pretty easy. You sit back and wait for a Medicare card. Okay. Now, very common is people working past 65, perhaps staying on an employer group plan or whatnot, not needing to get on Medicare or not sure if they should get on Medicare. That's if you're not receiving Social Security because you're still working, then you're not automatically enrolled into Medicare at 65. But again, that's a good time to sit down with a broker. Very common question we get that I think we've talked about previously. Well, what if I have employer coverage? Well, let's compare. Again, don't assume, because in the past, it's been a pretty accurate assumption that group coverage is kind of the end all be all. And if you can keep it, do it for as long as you can. As we've talked about, that is no longer the case. Hasn't been for the last few years in particular, where because Medicare plans have gotten so competitive and rich in benefits, even people that work for large employers are saying, well, boy, if I can lower my premium, lower my medical costs, remove a deductible, and get more dental that I'm getting at my large employer, why would I not do that?
Yeah.
Right. So it's important to not make that assumption and to get educated on those things. But at that point, if you're wanting to enroll into Medicare, past 65, if someone does work and it makes sense not to get on Medicare at 65, then again, you would go to the Social Security Administration. You can do it online. The Social Security office happens to be right next to one of our offices in Idaho Falls specifically. So we can walk you over there. We can help you do it online. It's pretty straightforward most of the time. But you just notify them that you want Medicare as of, whenever you're retiring or whatever the case might be. You get a Medicare card and then you're ready to rock to again, come and talk to us and say, let's make sure that you're getting the most out of your Medicare, because as we've talked about previously, Medicare is not fantastic by itself. Plenty of gaps in coverage, and that's frankly why the Medicare supplements and Advantage plans exist, because Medicare by itself is not great. So depending on your situation, you can get on Medicare before 65 as well. If you've been on Social Security disability for 24 months, you're actually automatically enrolled into Medicare at that point. So we see that sometimes as well, but that's a few different scenarios that we see quite commonly as far as enrolling into Medicare.